Toy Chat is not a children's channel. This video is intended for adult gift givers and collectors. Hey guys, welcome to Toy Chat. This is Max.
And Sang.
So, we are a little overdue for some Monster High catch-up. So we are going to be having a discussion in today's video. We are going to be playing catch up on the various Monster High dolls that have been released over the past several weeks and months. We have, of course, already reviewed many of the Monster High Gen 3 dolls. In particular, we've reviewed all of the Monster High Gen 3 core signature dolls that have been released at this time of recording. So I will link those in the description below if you guys want to check those out, along with our full Monster High playlist. But today we're kind of just gonna jump through all the different lines that Monster High has been releasing, ranging everything from Playline to Collector, you know, Haunt Couture, Skullector. We're gonna have a little bit of a throwy for a second, you know, talk about the Booriginal Creeproductions, because we never really did on our channel. And then we're also gonna have a discussion about the much more recent stuff, including the Haunt Couture Midnight Runway dolls and Skulltimate Secrets, which have very much been a hot topic in the doll community. Series 2 recently leaked, which is really interesting because Series 1 is still nowhere near widely available, but put a pin in that, we'll get to it. We have Twyla here from Creepover Party. This was her first release in Gen 3, so you know we may be unboxing her in this video, giving a little bit of a mini overview of some of this stuff, and you know, just talking about the hits and misses of the Monster High comeback so far and our thoughts. So let's go ahead and get started. And as just a little bonus to add to this, make sure to stay tuned till the end of the video where we will be sharing our first impressions of the freshly leaked Gen 3 signature Abbey Abominable and Clawd Wolf. Really excited to talk to you guys about those. So we're gonna kick off first by discussing the Booriginal Creeproductions, which of course are kind of new iterations of the original Monster High dolls. The original Monster High dolls have been released multiple times. Where Sang and I kind of fall as collectors, we came into the game a little bit late. It was probably like 2014-ish, yeah. Like when we started collecting Monster High dolls. We were still around for many years of Monster High being like an active brand, but we started collecting a bit late, so we were never able to access like the actual original Monster High dolls. So I do have the original Ghouls 6-pack, which was released I think in like 2015, something like that. So when I got the Booriginal Creeproductions, I was like, I want these, but I'm probably not going to unbox them because I do already have the dolls in their original looks from the original Ghouls, you know, pack. Although that one had a lot of cuts that were like very different from the actual original dolls. Draculaura's vest was like printed and there were a lot of things. So what I did was I kind of like Frankenstein's, you know, pun intended. I Frankenstein's together those dolls with some of their actual original clothing that I bought on eBay from the original dolls. And so like I'm content with my out-of-box versions of those, but we do have all 4 Booriginal Creeproduction dolls.
They're pretty accurate to the originals, minus some of the colors. The fabrics are a little bit different. The screenings all look different as well, so there isn't any mistaking them for the very first print. These were really hard to find. These were exclusive to Walmart, and if it weren't for a Walmart employee calling me back about these, I don't think Max and I would have owned any of these. Yeah, I actually got a call from someone like really early in the morning, so I rushed over there and it was on a display that they set out, and it was already, some has gone through them, but luckily I was able to pick up some for us. But yeah, if not, yeah, we have not seen these at all.
No, I'm really curious like how many of you were able to get, you know, the Creeproductions if you were interested in them. I really appreciate that Mattel did this, like, you know, re-release these dolls, but I don't understand why they were so difficult to obtain. The other thing is there were all these like rumors and speculation. Actually, I'm pretty certain there were like photos circulating online of Booriginal Creeproductions like Cleo.
Yeah,
and which never, yeah. I don't know if that was fake, I don't know if that was disproven as fake or it wasn't legit or whatever, but these were clearly really popular, so I don't know why they weren't more widely distributed.
There was that viral video from Mexico where, yeah, it was like a mall got them in, and it was a huge, crazy rush to grab them. Yeah. Yeah, they should have printed more. I don't understand why it was a one and done kind of deal when there was a demand for them.
So Monster High has kind of continued doing some of these like Gen 1 faithful releases kind of coinciding with Gen 3, because of course kind of this comeback in 2022 wasn't just a Playline reboot of Gen 3, it was a lot of Gen 1 dolls, you know, kind of, you know, using the original sculpts, screenings that are either the same or very similar to the older dolls, which, as we've discussed before on this channel, is good overall, because then you're kind of keeping both sides of the aisle happy, because, you know, there's people who are interested in something very brand new, and of course when you talk about wanting to introduce it to a new young child audience and make it young and current, you know, it's like you want to go in more the reboot direction, but this kind of stuff was like to keep adult fans happy. Moving on to the Real Drama dolls, which we thought the Creeproductions were like coveted, difficult to obtain dolls. Real Drama was ridiculous.
Yeah, well, it first popped up at the Mattel Creations.
Well, no, didn't we get Dracula on Walmart.com?
Yes.
You got, so Sang like happened to be able to jump on, that's the only reason I have this Dracula is because we never saw her ever again. He got her Walmart listing, and then the rest did go live on Mattel Creations, immediately sold out. These were never widely available.
No.
It was like super rapid sellout. And so obviously, yeah, these are Monster High dolls in a mostly grayscale, which, as we've discussed before too, you know, 2022 was like the year of grayscale dolls. The Real Drama, it's, you know, it's cool. It's a nice pun for the title. The designer, Rebecca Shipman, has talked about kind of the theme of this line and how, you know, it's in relation to older retro black and white films and kind of almost like an homage to older horror films. And so it was a really smart theme to do for these. And they also all have very long hair, and there's only one tone of color in each character's hair, and it's sort of like their signature color a bit. These were incredibly popular, and you'll come to learn this is kind of a recurring theme in this video. I don't understand why so many of the Monster High dolls in recent history, including Playline, which we'll get into, have been just like difficult and weird to obtain.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, these were a struggle to get because we were tracking them through Target.com, and they were always sold out. Luckily, on the day that they were supposed to come out, I managed to get them in stores, but they had to pull from the back, and then you blink and then they're gone. But in the end, we managed to get them all. But some of them were a hassle to get. I think Laguna took a long time.
Well, there were also a lot of people who were really frustrated because, particularly people who ordered from Walmart, the boxes were in terrible condition.
Yeah.
Like there were so many, and my Draculaura has an awful box. Yeah, and there were so many people who were saying that the boxes were destroyed and, you know, the shipments were not really taken care of at all. Yeah, it's just really frustrating. But Real Drama is really cool. It's really unfortunate it was so difficult for so many people to obtain. It has gorgeous artwork by Darko Dark. He did a fabulous job, and they come with like little posters and stuff like that. So you'd assume Mattel would want people's money because these clearly sold very well, but they were a very limited release, and once that entire stock from Walmart and Mattel Creations sold out, they were just gone. It was the same for both of these, for the Creeproductions and Real Drama. If you guys have any thoughts on, you know, the whole fiasco that went down with these lines of dolls, or just what you think of them, definitely let us know in the comments. All right, so let's play some catch up with Monster High Skullector and where that's at. When the Skullector dolls first started coming out, and that was like years ago at this point, that was the very first ones, of course, being Pennywise and the Grady twins from It and The Shining, respectively, which we did review. That'll be linked below if you guys want to check it out. And I loved those dolls. To this day, those were some of my favorite Skullector dolls. And they are worth a pretty penny at this point. Really wild, the value of a lot of the Skullector dolls. And, you know, of course, there have been many since then. There was the Beetlejuice Skullector dolls, which we reviewed as well. We didn't really, I don't think we reviewed any Skullector dolls after that.
No.
We kind of stopped purchasing them once like Greta Gremlin. I didn't pick up Greta Gremlin. I like missed her.
Yeah,
I think we missed her and didn't pick her up. But obviously with the Skullector dolls, it's collaborations with, you know, these different IPs and properties and horror icons geared more towards adults. Collectors. Dracula was one that came out a little more recently.
This was interesting because she sold out really quickly, but then they did a restock on her. Because that's how you were able to get her. Yeah.
That was the only reason I got her. I initially did not pick her up. I mean, this is my first time, actually. She has been sitting in her shipper. This is my first time really getting a look at her. She is really cute. She's really pretty. There's like certain little flourishes that I would have liked to have. Like, I personally would have preferred like some kind of texture or shimmer or something to like the interior of her cape. Because obviously Skullector dolls are a bit pricey. And there's been a lot of debate over whether they're worth their price, you know, so on and so forth, because they've kind of ranged in price from $60 to like $90 for, you know, some of the 2-packs and things like that, or, you know, more expensive. You know, a lot of these, it kind of comes down to if you have a connection to the horror icon that it's based on. And the thing about Dracula is, I think just by its nature, I figured this release was going to end up being, like, when they were teasing it, I was like, this might end up a little bit redundant of existing Monster High characters, because there are multiple Monster High vampire characters, so I was like, I don't know if this doll is going to feel just very closely aligned with like Draculaura or Elizabeth. And to an extent, she does. She's a pretty standard vampire doll, but she is pretty.
Felt kind of redundant with like Draculaura, but I do think she looks pretty cool in her suit. I think that kind of sets her apart, and it you know, harkens back to the Dracula films. So I guess she has a place separate from the canon of like Draculaura and the vampires in Monster High.
True, yeah. The most recent Skullector doll at this time of recording is Elvira. And neither of us ended up picking up the Elvira doll. We didn't even try. I mean, even if we did try, I don't know if we would have gotten her. She was an extremely rapid sellout. Gonna kind of discuss our thoughts on her. To provide a little bit of context, I am someone who was definitely aware of Elvira, you know, as an entertainer and performer. Like, I've seen some of her clips and, you know, and things on YouTube and stuff on TV probably like years ago that I might have fuzzy memory of, because some of it was when I was a lot younger. But I definitely have a concept of who the character of Elvira is and what she represents and things like that. So it leaked like sometime prior to the doll actually coming out, so a lot of people in the Monster High community were like anticipating an Elvira Skullector doll, and they were getting really excited about her. It was probably one of the characters that was like really demanded too. I think a lot of people like wanted an Elvira doll from Monster High.
Was there someone else that leaked with her? There was someone else that leaked with her. I don't remember. I remember showing you.
Maybe. But when the doll was revealed, there was kind of a myriad of different responses. There were some people, of course, who loved her and, you know, were thrilled to have a Monster High Elvira doll. To me, it wasn't what I would have expected from a doll that's truly based on the character of Elvira. To address the elephant in the room right away, I think for a character like Elvira, I can understand why Mattel would have some apprehension about like incorporating her voluptuous figure into a doll sculpt. But to me, the way it all looked out and how they just kind of used like the standard, or I think they used the Big Sister body on her. There's certain things, because I think there were some people who said too, like that she uses the Big Sister sculpt, but she has the standard hands, because people were talking about there's like proportion things about her. But it was one of the standard Monster High sculpts. They didn't give her a unique sculpt. You know, the bust is the exact same size as, you know, other Monster High dolls. So to me, it looked more like something I would have expected from like a Playline release. Like if they were gonna do an Elvira Playline, that was kind of more the vibe I was getting. I think her makeup was really cool. You know, it's exciting that the people who are really attached to that character got a doll of her. I am curious how many like hardcore Elvira fans feel that it was kind of like a faithful iteration. And you know, there were videos obviously online of that Elvira herself was very involved in, you know, the design process and worked really closely with the Monster High team on creating this doll, which is great. Speaking as someone who isn't extremely familiar with Elvira, I have definitely seen clips of her shows, of her entertainment, of her humor. I think her sensuality and her kind of raunchy sense of humor are pretty integral to the character as I understand her. So again, it felt like a Playline spin on the character. These dolls have been, again, so difficult to obtain with these lightning fast sellouts. I'm kind of like, I don't even want to bother trying. When the doll's not speaking to me.
Well, the thing is, the way they set up these releases are, they announce them Monday, Tuesday, and Friday's the launch. So you don't really have a lot of time to, you know, ponder if you really want it or not. If you want it, you kind of have to do your knee-jerk reaction, just buy it. But yeah, I'm not familiar with the character. I wasn't really aware of her until I was well into my adulthood. So, you know, I'd rather she went to someone who enjoys her. Yeah, I mean, I definitely like the idea of them continuing. Like, I would love a Wednesday doll. I mean, they have worked with WB before.
That will be, you'll blink and it'll be gone.
Yeah.
That will sell so quick, but
Yeah.
they should.
It should, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things that, yeah, there's a lot to look forward to with this line. It is pretty pricey, so I don't know. I don't know how long they can continue this.
Overall, I love Skullector. I think there's really like endless potential there. Definitely don't see myself being a completist of the Skullector dolls at this point, but I think, you know, the ones that speak to me, there's definitely a lot of other things, you know, that could be done. There's a lot of other horror icons. Is there like a particular Skullector doll that you guys want? Is there like a horror icon that you want to see Monster High put their spin on? Definitely let us know. All right, so let's talk about Haunt Couture for a second.
Haunt Couture. You know, it honestly, this is really when I feel like people really got back into Monster High.
Yeah.
And I think this really shows off how popular Monster High is still. Even after these years of it being not around.
The first wave of Haunt Couture with Frankie, Draculaura, and Claudine, and then you know, Laguna and Cleo were released a bit later. I really liked them for the most part. I thought, I mean, I will say the initial promo images, when those went up, I was like, they look absolutely stunning. So those promos were killer. Obviously, I think with the promo images, of course, you have dramatic lighting and editing and perfect touch-ups and styled hair.
And also, they used like a hand-painted model version, prototype, and then the actual product ones were a little different. Yeah.
Yeah, so they don't have quite the same impression in person, but they're still really lovely. I still was a big fan of Frankie, Draculaura, and Claudine of this line. I really liked Cleo as well. Laguna, you know, 2022 has not been very kind to Laguna. In a lot of releases, Laguna has sort of gotten the short end of the stick. I think just with like some polarizing design choices, chunky glitter and you know, difficult hair material. But overall, you know, there were a lot of people saying that Haunt Couture was way too expensive.
Yes.
And pretty much all the Haunt Couture dolls are $75, which is definitely a bit pricey. But I think, I mean, the interesting thing about Haunt Couture is when these first came out, it was a lot of the adult collectors were like, this is what we want from Monster High. Like, we want these, like, these design concepts and these, like, you know, layered clothing and metallics and different textures and accessories. I am absolutely obsessed, by the way, with the Haunt Couture stands. I think the little metallic stands are so cute. So yeah, I love Haunt Couture. I do think they're a bit pricey for what they are. Love the packaging on these, however. Much more recently, we got a look at what is, I guess, considered like a new wave of Haunt Couture, or kind of an extension of Haunt Couture, which is Midnight Runway. When it was first teased, it was just these like vague, simple images of 3 characters in masks. So people weren't completely sure. They're like, is this like a superhero line? Is it like a, you know, is it a high fashion gala masquerade kind of thing?
Yeah, we still don't know.
We're still not really sure when they revealed the full dolls, but the big deal for me, and I think for a lot of people, was that Spectra, who has, so I think someone said Spectra hasn't gotten a doll in like 15 years.
It's been 84 years.
That's
No.
way too long, not 15 years.
Maybe 2015.
Maybe that was what I was thinking
Yeah.
of. Yeah.
I think the last time she was in Haunted, right?
There has not been a Spectra doll for years. For many years, because she did not make an appearance in Gen 2 at all. Many people believed she was essentially replaced by Ari Huntington, which was very controversial and we have talked about on this channel many years ago. But Spectra made her dramatic return in this new line of Haunt Couture, which is called Midnight Runway. Yeah, it's like a superhero masquerade. It's a really interesting theme. It almost looks like a combination of power ghouls and like one of the like party gala lines, like Welcome to Monster High almost, kind of, or something like that. A little bit of, you know, the first wave of Haunt Couture mixed in. So at this time, Frankie's drop has already occurred, and actually Frankie is still available days after the drop. Draculaura is always the character who's like, you know, Draculaura is just gonna be gone. My suspicion is that Spectra is gonna be really, really popular because she hasn't had a doll for so long. Cleo is in this line as well. It's a really interesting trio of dolls overall.
I think my knee-jerk reaction is I'm gonna skip them. I don't think they look quite as nice as the normal Haunt Couture. I think they come with a lot less. And also they look like they're all wearing like bodysuits, like onesies. So,
true, yeah.
so I'm not really sure how I feel about that. It feels too early to repeat characters. Frankie and Cleo don't really need more dolls. Especially, I don't think they were the most popular ones in the first wave.
They're cool. There are some cool design concepts there, but overall I definitely preferred the original Haunt Couture dolls, and I actually personally would have preferred more new characters in Haunt Couture looks rather than like these repeat characters in these like masquerade looks.
Well, we know Rochelle is coming.
Yes, and Rochelle was based on a series of fan votes where people could piece together what they liked and what they didn't like, which, I mean, let's talk about that for a second.
Max and I follow like the Crumble Cookie Instagram, and they also did kind of a vote for the cookie they're gonna make, and they had to do it like 2 times because like it was just really weird, like flavors. Like you had to choose the base, you choose the frosting, and it came out to some weird Frankenstein abomination thing that I don't think would taste good.
Yeah.
So it kind of came out the same thing with Rochelle. She looks interesting.
Yeah, and it was really sad because I think almost every facet that was voted on except like one, the one I did not want, won the vote. Which was really unfortunate because, and to Sang's point, the problem with just having fans on social media vote for something in pieces is you're gonna get a Frankenstein together final product, especially because in the case of Rochelle, with fashion, you want things to match, right? But people were not able to, there were like certain things that we didn't know.
Her outfit, we couldn't decide on her outfit.
So like, we didn't have a say on her outfit, and people were like, well, that would be a factor in what I would decide on like other, parts of her look. Yeah,
like why were we choosing her shoes when we don't even know what her outfit looks like? And it's just not being able to see the full picture of things until the very end after the voting closed. So
yeah, I mean, it would have made sense too, because if there's already like a standard quote unquote, Haunt Couture Rochelle coming, I don't know why this last wave of Haunt Couture dolls couldn't have just been a Haunt Couture Rochelle, Spectra, and Rebecca. Wasn't because that was when that was like the line that was released after I think the first couple waves. Venus was in that one as well. Oh, I love Venus. I miss Venus. Yeah, I would have much rather they did that, and maybe they will still do that. I mean, I'm really curious who's going to be paired with Rochelle, or if she's just going to be her own little thing.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out whenever she drops.
Well, we also voted on the character for that fan vote. Fang vote, I think it was, and the other options were Rebecca and Venus, if I recall correctly. Yeah, so I mean, the suspicion is that they might just still release all of them anyway, so maybe it will be that trio, and you know, I don't know, I guess we'll see. We'll have to see what the final product turns out like. I had some concerns that Rochelle's hair is gonna be a mess.
Yeah, I prefer the other hair that was on the ballot. The twist braids look neat and they're clean, and you know it fits Rochelle. But I guess people prefer her classic hairstyle with the bangs, and in this case gave her wavy curls. But I don't know. We'll see.
Alright, so we have discussed Monster High collector dolls, but let's jump right into Playline. Let's get into it with the Gen 3 dolls, the ones we need to catch up on anyway. So, Creepover Party. Let's talk about, first of all, the availability of this line. Creepover Party, when it first leaked, it was a pretty big deal because it debuted the release of Twyla, which was a character who had not gotten a Gen 3 doll yet, so this was her debut in Gen 3. That was like a pretty big deal because of course people are really interested in like getting new characters. I'm pretty sure these started popping up at Walmart several months ago. And Sang and I never found a single one at Walmart. I don't know why they were so difficult to find. I mean, we have also discussed many times on this channel what a general nightmare Walmart is. It's just not a pleasant shopping experience. It's very, very difficult to track items down. They don't have a reliable item number system like Target, so we just went on a lot of wild goose chases trying to find these dolls, and we never did until they popped up at Target, which is ironically actually kind of recently. These dolls have finally become readily available at Target. This particular Twyla, we ordered on Amazon, but shortly after that, Creepover Party popped up at Target, and now they're very common at Target.
And Walmart. We've seen them at Walmart,
but these were really difficult to come by. Now that they're really common at Target, we've been seeing a lot of them, and this line in total includes Draculaura, Frankie, Claudine, and Twyla. We only ended up picking up Twyla. She is really cute. I really like Gen 3 Twyla. I will say she's one of the characters who I feel like they didn't change her a ton from her older looks. She was in Gen 2 as well. Well, the big difference to her aesthetic, the one I know that was like kind of polarizing, her like pinkish lavender hands instead of like the smoky black hands.
The interesting thing is her hands doesn't match the smokiness that is on the rest of her.
No, and also it's not, you know how it's they make it kind of like a transition with kind of like that, that design of the smoke wisps on her limbs.
Yeah.
They don't, I mean, they kind of do it on her hands.
But they're different colors though.
It's the color doesn't match, and I don't like how you can't see it at all on the underside of her hand, so it just looks like she's wearing like a glove.
Yeah.
On when you see the underside of her hand, so that, I'm not a fan of that aesthetic. I prefer how she looked how her hands looked in, her older versions.
It feels like a mistake because her artwork doesn't show pink hands. Yeah. So I think they mix the colors wrong. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, granted, the artwork has never been very accurate with Gen 3, so...
She's very, very cute overall. I like the outfit she comes with. Her accessories are adorable. I mean, one thing I will say is I know there's some people who would much rather have, like fashions and fashion details as opposed to accessories and all that.
A stand, please.
Yeah. I mean, it's really frustrating that literally none of the Monster High Playline dolls in this current generation, none of them have stands. So...
And some of them don't even fit the whole stands.
Yeah, so I'm really not a fan of that, and it also just makes storage or if you want to display these dolls, it's just a big pain. Mine are in a bag. So that's kind of unfortunate. But what I will say about the accessories is the Gen 3 accessories overall have been really well designed. They're super cute. Like, I love Twyla's little like spiderweb Pop-Tart and her book, Intro to Talismans, is really cute. What's really cute is her backpack is like a throwback to her original pet with the button eyes. Her new Dustin pet has like irises that are like button shaped, but he doesn't actually have button eyes. But it's cute how the bag is like a throwback to the original. So yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of this Twyla. I have heard some people say that her little bunny hood is like not great quality, or that it doesn't like stay on her head very well, but she is quite cute. I don't know if I'm gonna end up picking up the other Creepover Party dolls. I'm really curious how well that line is selling, because now that they're finally in Targets, I see full stock of them everywhere, and it has been like that for a while. So I'm curious how popular this line has been overall, because you know, even Draculaura is not flying off the shelf. And Gen 3's signature Draculaura, you could not find her for months when she first came out. Twyla's cute overall. Her music video was very cute. I guess every Gen 3 character is like gonna get a music video.
I guess so, yeah.
So we're gonna talk for a moment about the new Monster High budget dolls, which once again, really hard to come across. Like we have only seen one of the Monster High budget dolls, and it was Frankie, and that was at Macy's. Yeah, we saw Frankie at Macy's.
Yeah, so there's the first collection of budget dolls, which were kind of simplified versions of their signature Gen 3 looks, and they look fairly similar to the $25 version. And these are $17.99, the budget versions. So they're not that much cheaper. My biggest problem is they're missing articulation, which is an interesting choice they made. They're missing the bust joint. You can't really tell from just looking at them in box. So that's kind of like a surprise that you get when you take them out. But I don't know, I'd rather spend, $25 to get the full version than a simplified version that's missing joints. And
for me personally, the way I kind of approach budget dolls, if I'm like going to consider a doll that's purely a simplified version of that doll's signature release, I'm going to be coming at it from purely like a value perspective. So I'm like, okay, I would want this then to be significantly cheaper from the main release, because you're not really getting anything unique. The thing that is frustrating about the budget dolls too, the ones that are simplified of the original looks, is they do come with unique accessories. So I'm kind of like, some of the accessories are really cute, like Draculaura has like a strawberry milk or something, and I'm kind of like, I just want the accessory, but I was like, I don't really want to buy these dolls, beyond that.
I personally, if I was gonna get something cheaper, I'd rather it be something different. Like, you want, like, if I was a toy company, I want people to double dip. Like, if I buy the signature version and they make a budget version, like, you would want the consumer to buy both versions, right? Not like, oh, well, let's just get the cheaper one because it's cheaper. You're not missing out on too much.
Yeah, and I mean, there was a second wave of the budget dolls too, and I mean, I guess some of these are on the way. They're maybe not readily available yet. Some of the outfits are kind of cute. I mean, for me, I would like Monster High Gen 3 to have a really similar approach to budget lines that it had in Gen 1 and kind of in Gen 2, in that I want the budget lines to actually be lines, like have a theme of like, like Freaky Field Trip and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, this is a cheaper, more affordable doll, but there's still a theme here. It's not like, oh, this is a simplified version of another release. Jumping straight into something that I think is going to be a main attraction for a lot of people with Gen 3 is Skulltimate Secrets, a line that is essentially, it has more of a gimmick to it, where these dolls are, it's kind of like LOL Surprise OMG style. The old style anyway, where you can't see the doll, so it's like a surprise when you open it up and you like use these little keys to unlock all these little sections of these huge lockers. So it's like a locker playset, essentially. And there are 5 dolls in series 1 because there is a series 2. I mean, even with the single series, it was really an overwhelming thought to me because I'm like, okay, so I'm going to have, if I were to get this whole line, I would have 5 of these huge lockers that I have to like store if I'm keeping it, which I mean, I assume the intent would be for you to keep it because there's like designs. It's like a play set.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff here that's super cute. You know, I will say overall, it seems like the designs in Skulltimate Secrets have been pretty popular. Like Draculaura has this really cute, it almost looks like it's almost more like Rochelle, kind of, because she has like a Parisian kind of fashion. Super cute. And Frankie is wearing these, you know, really unique fashion pieces that are almost like reminiscent of like stuff Lady Gaga has worn. I actually think Skulltimate Secrets Claudine might be my favorite Gen 3 Claudine. I mean, I haven't seen her in person yet, but which again, put a pin in that. But I think her crimped hair is really, really cute. I love that Claudine. What's cool about these two is they do come with a lot of different fashion pieces, so it seems like the intent is to kind of mix and match. They are $29.99, so they cost $30 each. None of these dolls are readily available yet. So all of the people who have been purchasing them are buying them from this, I don't even remember, it's like Paul's or something. It's like, it's some sort of third-party retailer. They are not widely available at any of the major corporate retailers like, you know, Target, Walmart, Amazon, nothing like that. Which is wild because Series 2 of Skulltimate Secrets has already completely leaked. Like full promo photos are everywhere. But before we jump into that, obviously there's all these issues with people obtaining the collector dolls because of like the rapid sellouts and, you know, on Mattel Creations and stuff like that. I don't know why the Playline dolls have been so difficult to obtain as well. It's like these really bizarre rollouts of releases where like they trickle into Walmart and are super hard to find, and then like it takes months later for them to be available at Target, or they're really rare and you don't know where to buy them, like the budget dolls. Skulltimate Secrets, I don't know what's going on because they leaked ages ago and now people are getting them from like this small business retailer, but they're not widely available, and now Series 2 is already leaked. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know why it's so hard to get the Playline dolls, or why it takes so long for them to like roll out to stores.
I'm curious if Mattel or these retailers don't have enough confidence in the brand to stock them. Because like with other brands like LOL and Barbie, they have their own sections.
Yeah. And
Monster High is kind of thrown into like a section. So they don't have a full 4-foot section. They're just on the shelf. Because I think if they had a designated section for Monster High, they could stock these stuff up. I wonder how retailers are feeling about these dolls, because it feels like they're not rolling them out fast enough.
Yeah, because obviously retail shelf space has to be purchased, you know, by the manufacturer. And it is true, it does not seem like they're purchasing much space for Monster High, because pretty much every Target we go to, the Monster High section is like this little sliver. And it's like barely a formal Monster High section. You know, I mean, I am curious if Mattel kind of pushed that a little harder and maybe had more confidence in the brand and having, again, like, you know, the end cap decorations and stuff like that. Like, this is like the Monster High section. They kind of did that when the Gen 3 like first came out. You know, there was like a little bit more, I guess, of a campaign to kind of push it. But I mean, Skulltimate Secrets overall, it's a bummer it's taking so long to roll out, because I think this is a really strong line. Regarding Series 2, which again a lot of folks are talking about right now because it recently leaked, and Series 2 seems to have a winter theme. It looks like winter wear. Pretty much. A lot of what is a lot of like faux fur and kind of long sleeves and stuff.
A lot of metallics and glitter.
I have to say that, a lot of people had a big reaction to Frankie in Skulltimate Secrets Series 2, understandably, because it's a really unique Frankie. And the screening looks, the screening struck me right away. Like, do you notice like the screening? It's like
more narrow.
Yeah, kind of like narrower eyes, and really is it like silver lips?
They look cute. Is their leg different? It's like a see-through leg.
Yeah. There were a lot of people pointing out how Frankie's metal leg in Skultimate Secrets Series 1 didn't have like the signatures and stuff on it. It was just like a blank silver leg. It looks like in Series 2 they did something completely different where it seems like it's like a translucent glitter leg.
No.
We haven't seen these dolls in person, I don't know. But I like Series 2 of Skultimate Secrets so much. I'm like, I might want to just like skip Series 1 because again, Series 2, once again, all of these characters have lockers. And I'm like, this gimmick is not something that you needed to span across 10 dolls. It's way too much. Like, I mean, if
also
anything,
the same characters.
It's the same characters too. I'm like, at the very least, if you're gonna make us buy more giant lockers, like just to make it different characters. So that is probably my least favorite aspect of Skultimate Secrets. I mean, some of the lockers are very cute, but it's excessive. That is something that's making me not want to be a completist.
Cleo was pretty banging.
Yeah, Cleo is really cool. I saw a lot of people saying that this Cleo looks more like Nephra.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, the coloring in the hair and face.
You know what I do really like though, and this is something that we've kind of been requesting from Monster High Gen 3? They're using different hair colors.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, okay, perfect. That's what we want. That was that was done a lot more like in Gen 1. Because if you look at the Draculaura from Series 2, it seems like it's like a lighter shade of pink. It's almost like a sugar pink.
Yeah. I mean, she's probably not the most noticeable one, but like definitely like Laguna has a completely different hair color. Cleo as well. I mean Claudine is completely different.
Yeah, which I love. I mean, that makes me more tempted to buy the doll. And it's like, yeah, her hair is like a violet. It's really pretty.
And they better change the hair quality on her.
Oh my god, yeah. And Fearidescent. It was called like Fearidescent was the theme for. I do like how they all come with like fur stoles.
Yeah,
that is really cute. Frankie has been really popular, and I totally see why. I think Frankie looks amazing. I love like the spiky headband. Also, a big change in hair colors. It's like an icy kind of blue, like compared instead of like the teal that we've been seeing a lot on Gen 3 Frankie. The little ice cream, like the popsicles, are so cute. They're so cute. Poor Laguna. Laguna got the short end of the stick in Gen 3. Yeah. It's probably least favorite in both Series 1 and Series 2. I mean, she's not like ugly, but it's
too much. Too much going on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm really looking forward to the series. Hopefully there's not going to be some weird overlap where both series are on the shelf at the same time.
People are going to have to make a decision then. They're like, well, I like Series 2 better, so... Hey guys, so we were literally in the final moments of finishing this video, and the much anticipated fan favorite characters Abbey Abominable and Claude Wolf, their Gen 3 signature dolls, have officially leaked. All of their promo images have leaked, which probably means they will be available to purchase sometime relatively soon. So we definitely wanted to include that in this video, and we want to just briefly give you guys our first impressions of these leaks.
So let's start with Abbey. She retains a lot of features that Gen 1 had, like the tinsel hair and like the blue skin tone. But you know, they made her a little bit more cute, wider eyes. She looks great. I love all the colors on her face. I hope the retail version looks like that. Looks like there's some blush on her nose as well, which kind of gives you kind of like that cold weather vibe.
I know, it's so cute, yeah. Off the bat, my knee-jerk reaction to her was that she looks incredible. The reception to her seems extremely warm so far. I'm seeing a lot of people say she's a contender for the best Gen 3 signature doll, and honestly, I might agree. I absolutely love her color palette. You know, I think she's very faithful to the original Abbey with kind of a fun new spin with a bit of more of a focus on kind of like a purple lavender color scheme and some iridescence, which is really pretty. Sang and I have not really been watching the animated series, but I did see screenshots of her appearance in the show, and the doll looks similar but a bit different. It looks like the doll has a simplified version of her hairstyle. It's just like long straight hair, but the pants on the doll look a lot nicer than the one in the show. Because yeah, when I saw her in the show, I wasn't super excited for her just because her outfit looked really simple. Also, her show iteration, the character has a bit of a curvier body type. It doesn't look like that's the case on the doll, although I am curious if she has maybe a similar body sculpt to Draculaura. I'm not sure whether we'll be able to confirm that yet.
She definitely does look a little bit curvy. Also, I'm hoping she retains like her height. I think that's... Yeah, so I don't think this is exactly the same as Draculaura unless they use the same body sculpt as Draculaura, but hopefully she's tall.
Yeah. She doesn't look like she has glitter skin, right?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But she does have tinsel in her hair, so that's something.
That's usually universally hated, but I don't mind it as much as most people, but a lot of people really don't like tinsel. So yeah, I mean, Abbey was my favorite Gen 1 character. I think she looks fabulous. Her accessories all look amazing as well. Super excited for her.
So next we have Claude, and looks like Claude retains kind of his sporty attire. So he does come with like a jersey and some like a basketball shirt and some jeans that have some cool little details and graphics on it. So he's kind of simple. Most boys are, but he seems cool. I mean, he comes with 2 shirts. I just noticed that.
Yes.
Nice. I don't know about him.
You know, I was really excited to see Claude's doll. I thought he looked really nice in the animated series, which I guess the doll iteration is pretty faithful to how he looks in the show. There's something about the doll that does seem a little simple overall. I also am, after thinking about it for a bit, I'm kind of realizing I think I'm experiencing a slight burnout of male characters in doll lines wearing like jersey jackets. Like, I feel like we've just seen that a lot. Granted, I really like the fact that his little like jersey tank is pink. I think that's super cute. I love Claude. I love the fact that he has textured hair. Something about his face too.
It's very flat to me.
Yeah, his face sculpt, it's whether it's the sculpt or screening, he's one of the characters where it maybe would have been nice to give him like a toothy grin or something like that.
He has the kind of smile, like the flat smile you give a customer when they walk through the door.
Smiling at someone you don't know. I don't know if I love his face overall. Yeah. But he's really cute. I love getting more mansters. So I am still excited for him. Definitely still planning on picking him up. I do think his accessories, the Scary-Yaki jerky, is so cute. I love his accessories. Overall, 2 really cool reveals. Really excited to see these in person. Definitely let us know your initial thoughts on Abbey and Claude in the comments. Well, that pretty much catches us up to the present for now. We're very curious where you guys are at in terms of, Monster High, both the adult collector releases and the Playline releases. What are your thoughts, just the general direction it's heading? Regarding the adult collector releases, I hope there is just a focus on trying to make sure that there are enough units available to meet demand within reason for these, limited edition products. With Playline, I hope they keep up with, some of the strong design choices and making the dolls different from each other. Thank you for joining us for this little discussion. Make sure to let us know your thoughts on where Monster High's at in the comments below. Our full Monster High playlist will be linked on screen here. Let us know what you want to see covered next on our channel. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't, and we'll see you next time. Bye.